My clock read 2 in the morning. I had yet to close my eyes to get any sleep. I have class at 8, which I probably won't be attending. Another new normal for me. Normally, I would walk through hell and fire before the thought of not showing up ever crossed my mind. Ignoring responsibility always makes me feel guilty, an older sister trait I have picked up along the way. But I'm honestly too drained to show up to anything. I've spent the last 3 hours crying, something I've gotten used to. Whenever I am alone, the dam's always open. Most of the time, I could cry myself to sleep. Not this time. This time, the tears won't stop. My eyes are swelling and my head is throbbing. It's like I'm programmed with 3 emotions: anger, emptiness, and sadness. Emptiness is my everyday setting. My body feels numb, drained as if my soul has exited its vessel, and I am alone. Just wandering aimlessly through life, dragging my empty body around town, knocking off the things that I need to do for the day, or sitting through lectures that I cannot connect with. Sometimes that empty feeling can be triggered by something or someone, and that is when anger fills my heavy heart, and I can imagine destroying everything in my path. I could bring hell to earth with the wrath that consumes me. My anger only gets burned out by one thing, and one thing only, and that is when the dams open. I can feel the bridge lifting within me, water pouring out of my heart as my brain begins to malfunction, listing all that I kept buried deep within, as a reminder of all the times I should have cried, all the times I should have exploded, screaming at the top of my lungs for someone to listen. Anyone. I guess this is the curse for the quiet, all the back-to-be emotions and words unsaid, that weigh me down like an anchor. Everything has to find a way out, with or without my permission. So I lay here, with sores under my eyes and a blazing headache, just waiting out the storm, wishing that the tears would stop, that my loud mind would quiet, and be friends with me again. The clock reached 3 before my tears dry up, but sleep still could not find me. I laid there, twisting and turning, kicking my blanket off my body, pulling it back up, then sticking one leg out. I could not get my mind to stop racing. Normally, when I go to sleep, I dream of faraway lands, creating my own television series or the world's greatest story plotline in my head. It's like my own sweet lullaby. However, I cannot create any scenarios with a racing mind that won't allow my brain to draw pictures. The hour on my clock changed again to 4. 4 in the morning, and I am still up with a banging headache. A heavy sigh left my lips as I slowly threw my feet out of the bed into my bed slippers. There is no point in lying in bed, trying to force sleep. My eternal clock has me up, and once I am up, there is no such thing as taking a nap. I have to be terribly ill to get my body to shut down and relax. I dragged my body to the kitchen to put on a cup of tea, while I got myself together in the bathroom. I threw on a sage green workout set that I tossed at the back of my drawer 2 years ago. I combed my jet black curls into a nice silky smooth bun, after a lot of errors and tears, threatened to fall at the hard task. I slid my forest green circular glasses over my freckled nose, heading back out to the kitchen to prepare my tea. I sat on my comfy white sofa, sipping my tea. Placing it beside me, I scrolled through the laptop I had left on the chair the night before. I was searching through photos to create myself a mood board, or a vision board of sorts. I am a planner at heart. The most courageous or spontaneous thing I've ever done was saying that I quit school. Now I need a solid plan. Something that makes more sense than what I just did. Something that will back me up when I tell my mom that I will not be going after what she thought I should, but after something that felt more me. My vision board photos vary from business ideas to hobbies to birthday plans. I am determined to cover my bedroom wall in a board of rediscovery. I scrolled through all my photos, making sure I had all my ideas done before sending them over to Josephine's Craft Shack. Closing my laptop, I went to place my teacup in the sink, sliding into my sneakers at the door, pulling my denim jean jacket and purse off the rack, and grabbing my keys from the dish, leaving out. It is 6 in the morning, the normal time that I will be out the door to go sit at Ilaeda's to people watch. I haven't been in a while, since I called quits on school, afraid that Lolita or Celine Maylin will see the stretch run all over my face. I cannot tell anyone about what I did until I have a plan on what I was going to do with my life. I decided to walk to Josephine's to soak in the last days of summer, the heat settling for a cooler feel because March is near. Autumn can be smelled in the air. The clouds of the town have begun to shift. My favorite transition to the new weather coming ahead. I turn 23 in a few weeks, March 16th to be exact. One of the goals that was on my list that got sent to Josephine's is to go back to my childhood traditions, my roots, which is throw myself a birthday party. It's a coping mechanism that I picked up at the age of 10. A newfound love for planning. It was around the time my dad had left us. My baby sister Celine was just 3. I've never been the greatest at expressing my feelings. Instead, whenever things get hard, I throw myself into life, searching for meaning in the littlest of things. Sometimes it's books or music, but at 10, it was planning. I felt like the Bob the Builder of parties, coming up with the craziest of themes, roaming through color options. It was like building a puzzle. I'd spend all my time focusing on how to put this together, and when it is done, I feel this profound peace. The tension from my shoulders are gone. It is just a moment of nice silence as I stare at the finished product in front of me. My mom and Lolita, my stand-in grandmother, would humor me and give in to my wild birthday plans. We would try to bake the goods that I tore out of magazines or decorate the house in the wildest of things to try to make my vision a reality. On the day of my birthday, we would dress up as best as we could to follow the theme, eat dinner before we changed into our pajamas, dance around, and scream our lungs out to our favorite songs. The night will always end with us, my sister Celine, Solene Maylin, Lolita's granddaughter, my mom and Lolita, cuddled up, surrounded by our movie night snacks, binge watching as many movies as we could. It was in those moments that the world ceased to exist. I felt the problems we had the day before just vanish into thin air. In a weird way, I craved that feeling again. Last year, I took a rain check, letting my dark cloud isolate me, sucking away every ounce of joy that comes with turning into a new age, another year in life. I desperately needed a day where I could ignore life's biggest obstacles, a day of reboot for the unclear year that had ahead of me. Cruella de Vil is a theme that I thought of last night. I envisioned the perfect fall theme with the deepest yet brightest red roses, pearly white cake, and a mixture of black, white, red, and brown decor pieces, Polaroid photos all over, from drinking glasses to helium balloons floating in the air. I wanted to transform my home into a fashion empire. If I was going to pull myself out of a rut, I needed a birthday theme that made me elude confidence. Turning on Mattis Street, I quickly jogged across the burgundy cobblestone streets to the wooden fortress of Josephine's Craft Shack. Josephine's used to belong to Josie, Josephine's mom, but like everyone here, people normally pass down or follow in the same footsteps as their parents. Josephine took the shack and turned into a creative dream. The store is an artist sanctuary. The cobblestone that covers the streets follow us into the shop. The walls are bright white, capturing the sunlight that comes through the many windows. There is so much wood that the place could be a fire hazard. What was once Josie's craft shack was now a candy land for crafters, with its wide range of options of colors and materials, from fabrics and yarn, covering the walls and cubbies in the fashion room, to the pottery room that always smells like earth and is freezing for some odd reason. There are fragrances and essential oils in another room where candles and soaps are made. The huge store has everything that you can think of, from music instruments and paper. This is the place where dreams can come true. I head to the back of the store. I go through the back door, exiting Josephine's, walking through a mini garden pathway that leads into her library's flower garden. Back here, she has a studio where musicians come to create, and the dark room for the photographers. The library is one of Zyanthe's historical buildings that has been in Josephine's family for years. It is where everyone goes for peace and quiet. The laptops, books, and the printer where I sent my files. The craft shack and its other two buildings were built later down the line, adding to the library's architect. Zayante is the oldest capital in all of Catalea. A lot of things here are pretty much ancient. We try as a community to hold on to the old foundations as much as possible. The library is covered in greenery, flowers and vines, grew through broken windows and cracks that we tried to fix, but ended up keeping because it added an enchanted touch to the century-old library. Josephine's garden behind the craft shack added to the whimsical aura. Weaving through the towers of bookshelves, I walk to the front where the computers, tables, and printers are. All that has been printed out this morning has been put in the cubbies that sit beside the printers. Each mahogany cubby has a cream scotch tape on it with the name of who has something printed. I grab my photos, flipping through them to make sure that they were all there before ripping my name off of the cubby, so whoever was on shift would know I came to grab my order. I glance at the bulletin board on the wall, where the town's news is stapled upon. My mouth mumbled the words I was reading before my heart stopped. I took 3 steps forward, touching the wall, as if the words I just read on the green slip of paper were wrong. Amora is closing. This could not be true. Amora with a U instead of an A belonged to the Darlings family. Dylan Darling built the cherry blossom colored home, framed with blueberry lavender windows and pistachio green flower baskets attached, right on the hill of our seacoast. Our lighthouse sits round their land, now signaling sailors home, but years ago used to only face north towards Enid, shining brightly across all of Catalea, hoping to guide his lover Amora home. The inn is a love letter, built from wood and glass. It's where Amora eventually came, and the two lovers built their life together in Zayante. Amora farms all the produce that we received, and Dylan was an amazing carpenter. They built another home that they lived in on the land, turning the house into a beautiful inn. It was a symbol of a chapter closing and a new one beginning. I pulled a tab off the green sheet of paper, filled with information, deciding at that moment that I would be attending the town meeting, where someone was going to bid for the location to do God knows with it. That is one thing about Zayante. If something closes down, someone will scoop in and try to make something out of the empty space. Biting the right corner of my bottom lip, I attached the slip to the paper clip that was holding my photos together. I wanted this space. I had no clue what I would do with it. My gut told me that I could do something with it. This building called my name, I knew that I could not run it in, but I could turn it into something that held the value of the Darling family's history. Now, what are you going to do with that? I turned to the deep voice, shocked at the handsome figure in front of me. Reyes Darling Rhodes. I would say 6 feet tall, but at my short 5'3.5" everyone in my opinion looks to be about 6 feet. His coffee brown curls are shorter than the last time I saw him, dressed in an oddly yet attractive wardrobe that I've never seen him in. A black button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up. I spotted the scar running along his caramel-colored left arm. Memories flooding to my brain. He wore light blue jeans and cowboy boots. A lot of things have changed about him since the last time I saw him, but the boots and his fit physique stayed the same. He's always been pretty toned, but not in the gym type of way, more so from physical work, like working on his family's farm. I glanced up at his face, giving him the best smile I could muster up, without moving too much muscle to make my head hurt more. I'm not sure yet. Why are you guys giving it away? I asked, trailing my eyes to the bookcases behind him, feeling slightly uncomfortable under his cocoa-colored eyes. To think about 4 years ago, we used to know each other, and before that, we used to run through the halls of his family's inn when my mom used to work there. Or I journaled underneath the huge lighthouse, waiting for his friends to leave so we could run about and play. Sometimes I would help him with his chores, collecting eggs from the barns or picking fruits from the fields. There were times we would sit in comfortable silences, me reading a book and him playing with his camera. That was ages ago, and neither of us were the same. Well, since your mom left and I left, he moved in the direction of my line of sight, leaning against the printer shelves, crossing his arms across his chest with nothing but cool confidence. Dad couldn't handle running the inn and the farm. Mom has been really busy with her antique shop, and her health. He paused, his eyes taking a quick glance around him before he continued. It's just too much, so I guess this is their only alternative. He sighed, tugging on the strap on his left shoulder that I just noticed. His camera. In a way, I feel bad. Mom has been working at the Darlings Inn since she was a teenager. A winery owner came here about 5 to 6 years ago and stayed at Mora's Inn. He was testing out different types of inns, preparing to open one of his own in California. He liked the homey quality that Mom brought to the inn, and her experience was of great benefit to him. He offered her a chance to move to California, with a job that has changed our lives tremendously. For a year, she traveled back and forth from here to California, waiting for me to graduate high school. Once I did, she and Celine packed up right when I started college, starting their new life elsewhere. Well, you are here now. Can't you just help? I asked, searching his eyes for an answer that I already knew. He wouldn't stay. He left 4 years ago for a trip that was supposed to last 6 months to a year. A year turned to two, two to three, and three to four. I think he found his place elsewhere, and I can't blame him. If the opportunity provided itself, I would pick up and leave, just for a moment, to experience life outside of Catalea. I watched his Adam's apple jump in his throat as he swallowed before his lips opened, speaking the words I knew were coming. I'm not sure if I'm staying yet. I only came here because Mom's not doing too well. I'm on vacation from work at the moment, but I nodded my head, taking slow steps past him, trying to calculate my evacuation plan, cutting him short. Oh, I totally understand, but My thought ran from me when he stood up from the desk, walking towards me. All the gears in my head malfunctioned, my evacuation plan failing me. I have to get going. I quickly rushed out when he towered over me. He smelled the pomeranias that grew outside his houses and the sea breeze from his backyard. But I'll be home for 2 weeks, he said, his index finger touching the bridge of my glasses, pushed them back up my nose. The familiar gesture forced me to glance up at him. I would love to be a part of whatever it is you have planned for Amora. You know the house needs some fixing up. I could be of help with that. His face beams with sincerity. I might take you up on that offer, I said, taking steps backwards toward the exit. I turned not before waving and whispering a goodbye. It might be the last time that we'd ever cross paths again. My hand touched the gold doorknob right when he gave out, "Don't be a stranger." I glanced over my shoulder. I can't make any promises, before walking right out into the cool air of the early morning. His words let me know that he spoke to people we grew up with, and the town was talking. These days, I was most definitely a stranger, hiding away from everyone. 2 weeks from now, that would come to an end. I was too determined to not let Amora wither away under the ownership of someone who does not honor its beauty, its history, and in a way, I refuse to let childhood memories vanish before my eyes. Maybe this inn will be a way to pull myself out of the dark hole I've been hiding in, and a new Ilaeda will emerge from the shadows.